guys have been sitting for a while, so I'm going to be really brief. But, and I'm basically going to riff off some of what's already been said. But Jim talked about the fact that sometimes young men, especially, end up being labeled as special needs students for a whole variety of interesting reasons. Our middle child, second son, was a very energetic kid. And he had a very hard time sitting still, especially once he thought he knew what was going on. And I can't remember which grade it was, maybe fourth grade? Yeah, okay. He had a teacher who week after week after week told us that he was either ADD or ADHD. Just like an animal this woman was on us about this, you know. He's disruptive, he's difficult, blah, 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 blah. This kid needs to be on medication, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, we did all the testing and all the rest, and he was not deemed to be such. But it was important for him that we be there to advocate for him, or he may have ended up in a separate class from the rest of his friends. And the next year, he had a teacher who looked at him in about the first week of class and said, so, if I say it's okay for you to get up and walk around when you need to get up and walk around, and you don't bother anybody when you get up and walk around, and you stay quiet, you don't get anybody's way, and you do okay academically, is that a deal? And he said, sure. And life's been grand since then. So when you talk about he's a senior at UND, he's going to graduate this year, he's co-captain of the football team, blah, 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 blah. But the notion that somehow, you know, boys are a hot mess, okay? They just are. And this notion that so many, you know, we can't come up with a strategy or a group of strategies to try and solve for this, you know, baloney. Now we talk all the time about the opportunity gap and the achievement gap and all the rest. I just want you all to know that the highest scoring school district in the Commonwealth of Mass in 8th grade is the combination of the Mattapan, East Boston, and Roslindale Brook Academy School of Boston. Highest scoring. Higher than Weston, higher than Wayland, higher than Concord, higher than Carlisle, higher than all of them. And those schools are primarily, I mean, they're 80 or 90% brown and black students. So this notion that, you know, kids can't learn, it's a crock, okay? And I spent several years pretty involved with a group called the Phoenix Academy, which started in Chelsea and now has schools in Lawrence and Springfield. Now, Phoenix was started by a woman who used to work for Roca. Now, Roca's in Chelsea and in Springfield and a few other places, but Roca basically works with kids who are in their 20s, who somewhere along the line as teenagers bombed out, probably ended up in prison at one point or another, and are now trying to figure out at the age of 24, 25, or 26 how to put their life back together. It's complicated. So the woman who was working at Roca was saying, what happened here? Why did all these kids end up where they are? Because most of them are pretty smart and they're pretty good kids, but clearly somewhere along the line things got really messy for them. So she, you know, sort of pulled the string back on all of them and said, you know, where did this all go wrong? And all of them, for the most part, at some point when they're 15, 16, 17 years old, they just stopped going to school. For a whole bunch of different reasons. And that led to sort of a 7, 8, 10-year odyssey that was all in the wrong direction. And so she decided to start a school that was only going to serve kids, you know, sort of an alternative high school that was only going to serve kids who were either on their way out or already out of high school. And sort of drag them back in when they were still teenagers and try and see if she could help them graduate. And I spoke at their graduation ceremony a couple years ago, and every single one of those kids said that they had been told over and over again that they would never graduate from high school. And not only did they all graduate, but they were all going on to 2- and 4-year schools, and many of them with academic scholarships. So my point here is everybody wants this issue or these issues to be binary, right? On-off switches, yes, no's, black, whites, whatever you prefer. They're way more complicated and nuanced than that. And we have to bring a far greater degree of imagination and creativity to the way we think about this. Which brings me to everything, Superintendent Chang, that you just said, okay? You may be from LA, but boy, are we glad you're here in Boston. And we are going to make some proposals with the way the financing system works relative to charter schools and traditional school districts in our House 2 budget proposal in about a week or two that we've been working with the City of Boston and some of their folks on. It'd be interesting to see how it's received, because I know that's a big concern for a lot of people. The one other thing I want to say is thank you to all of you for your involvement and your participation in the base, okay? Martin Luther King always used to talk about the urgency of today and how important it is that today we start, because tomorrow, who knows what happens then. And one of the most powerful statements about the base is the fact that Robert Lewis basically left a perfectly good job, and he wasn't a zillionaire, okay, or even a millionaire, or even a few $100,000-aire. That's true. But he walked away from a good job with health insurance and benefits and all the rest because of the urgency of today. He couldn't stand going one more day without throwing everything he had into the base, into making the base the great organization that he believed it could become, okay? And we're all going to walk out there, and there are going to be a bunch of schools out there, really good schools, who are pitching themselves to the kids who are here. We're in Melnea Cass in Roxbury, okay? And those schools, we do not have a situation here where the kids are trying to pitch themselves to the schools. This is the opposite. The schools are here to pitch themselves to the kids. How cool is that? My final point here, there are so many success stories amidst difficult situations and circumstances all over the Commonwealth. And God, I love this state, but I wish we would spend more time trying to learn from our successes and replicate them, because they're there. Are you bored? Am I done? Okay, steal the show. Your regularly scheduled program. And a child who'll lead them. Message delivered. I'm done. Bottom line is, this is a great program. It's awesome that you're all here. Robert and his folks are doing all the right things. I wish I could plant one of these things in the middle of every community in the Commonwealth of Mass. But the final point I'll make about that is a great idea has to be led by great people. And in Robert Lewis Jr., you have one of the absolute very best driving the train here. And thank you for your support.
Said, folks, grab water, grab something. We're going to hang back out with the young folks. You'll hear from the governor again, Sheriff Tompkins, and others. So thank you for being here.